The Journey of a Lifetime. Chapter 1. A Dream in the Shadows. In a small village surrounded by mountains, a boy named Daniel grew up with a heart full of dreams. His family was poor, living in a modest home with barely enough to survive. His father was a farmer, and his mother worked as a seamstress. Though life was tough, Daniel never let his circumstances define him. From a young age, he was fascinated by technology. Whenever he saw a computer, his eyes would light up with wonder. He dreamed of becoming a software engineer, of creating something that could change the world. But in his village, dreams were often crushed by the weight of reality. "Stick to farming, son. That's what we know," his father would say. His neighbors laughed at him, calling his dreams foolish. But Daniel refused to accept that his destiny was limited to the fields. Chapter 2. The Struggle Begins. Determined to change his fate, Daniel studied hard. His school had no computers, so he would walk miles to a nearby town, just to see one at the library. He read books about programming, taking notes in a tattered notebook. To support his education, he worked part-time jobs, selling fruits, cleaning shops, and even working as a laborer in construction sites. While his classmates enjoyed their youth, Daniel spent his nights studying under the dim light of a kerosene lamp. Despite the hardships, he excelled in school. His dedication paid off when he earned a scholarship to a prestigious university in the city. It was his first step toward his dream, but the real challenges were yet to come. Chapter 3. A World Unknown. Arriving in the city was overwhelming. Daniel had never seen skyscrapers, crowded streets, or the rush of urban life. He felt like an outsider. His classmates spoke fluent English and had access to the latest gadgets, while he struggled with basic computer skills. Many times, he felt like giving up. He failed his first programming test and was mocked by some of his peers. But instead of surrendering to failure, he worked harder. He spent nights in the library, watching online tutorials, practicing coding for hours. Money was still an issue. His scholarship covered tuition, but he barely had enough for food and rent. He took a job as a cleaner in a cafe, waking up before dawn to scrub floors before heading to class. He often went hungry, saving every penny to buy a second-hand laptop. Through perseverance, Daniel slowly improved. He started participating in coding competitions, sometimes losing, but learning each time. His persistence caught the attention of a professor, who mentored him and introduced him to real-world projects. Chapter 4. The Breakthrough. In his final year, Daniel developed an innovative software that helped small businesses manage their inventory. What started as a university project soon gained traction. A local company offered to buy his software, and for the first time in his life, Daniel earned money doing what he loved. After graduation, he refused a high-paying job at a corporate firm and instead started his own tech company. The early days were brutal: sleepless nights, financial struggles, and countless rejections from investors. Some days, he doubted himself, but he remembered the struggles he had already overcome. Slowly, his company gained recognition. His software was adopted by businesses across the country, and soon, international investors took notice. Within a few years, his startup became one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the region. Chapter 5. The Legacy. Daniel, the boy from a poor village, became a successful entrepreneur, inspiring millions. He never forgot his roots. He built schools in rural areas, donated computers to underprivileged students, and created scholarships for those with dreams like his. One day, he returned to his village, where his father, now old but proud, stood before him. "You proved me wrong, son," his father said with teary eyes. Daniel had done what seemed impossible. He had turned his struggles into strength, his failures into lessons, and his dreams into reality. Because in the end, success is not about where you start, it's about how far you're willing to go.